2, 1. Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to episode number 47. Is this 47 or 8? Thank you for tuning into episode 40-something of Teddybears and Tantacles podcast. I am your host, Quinn, and I have with me today Skinny Rick.
Skine Rick. Oh, yeah. It's episode number
48.
48.
Yeah.
It's 48. And I think you said 47. So
Yeah.
I think we ruined it.
Again.
And we're going to have to restart.
No. So, we got a lot of stuff to cover today, but before we begin, how's it going, dude? How you feeling?
Dude, I think I'm addicted to skating. I'm not very good, but all I want to do, all I can think about is going to the skate park.
Yeah.
Or even just going outside, really.
Yeah.
And getting on a skateboard. I just want to go skate around.
The last time I was doing something like that was whenever I was in college. We longboarded a ton, dude. I mean, I skated whenever I was a kid, but dude, I would spend 3-4 hours a night longboarding, and it was all I ever thought about,
decks,
dude.
Right?
Oh yeah, everywhere we went. I mean, there was some crazy stuff in Birmingham. There's like this bank building that had this like huge parking deck that was abandoned and unfinished. So it had like vines overgrown in it, and it had this crazy pattern. I don't know if I can find it, but if I do, I'll show it to you.
I've heard stories of an abandoned water park.
Yeah.
Within driving distance of here.
Oh, dude.
That is not very secure.
Yeah, that sounds like it would be cool. That also sounds like it would be terrifying. Because
Well,
you'll have that one guy that's like, I'm going to skateboard down the slide.
Well, no, so the slides are gone, right? But the gift shops aren't. Like all the stock is just there.
Oh, all the stuff?
Yeah,
That's crazy.
So, like hats and stuff. I mean, that'd be cool. Other than the part where it's like breaking and entering, I'd like a hat. That'd be kind of
An abandoned skate water park hat.
I heard it. Yeah, I heard it's like a apocalypse.
Yeah, sounds cool, dude. Yeah, so I haven't been doing too much. My allergies have been killing me here lately, and we've been working a ton. That's for sure. We've been getting a lot of projects done and stuff like that. And although it seems like every project that we finish, there's an even bigger one.
Different one.
Yeah, but it'll be all right. We'll be able to make it. So we'll transition right into the content for today. First thing that I wanted to bring up this morning, this was on my Twitter. There was a Kremlin critic, Navalny, fights for life after suspected poisoning. So,
which is funny because I saw this on Reddit.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw this on Reddit this morning.
This guy named Alexei Navalny, and I'm sure that that's pronounced much more Russian than I'm saying it right now. Scroll down a little bit. So this guy is, I guess he is a politician that is in a different party than Putin and the Kremlin. If you don't know what the Kremlin is, it's basically more or less what they call like their highest tier of government. So like it would be the Putin administration type thing. So Russian opposition politician Alexei Navalny is in a coma and on a ventilator in a hospital in Siberia after falling ill from suspected poisoning during a flight, according to a spokesperson. Kira Yarmish said on Thursday that Navalny, 44, was flying to Siberia to Moscow after a work trip to Tomsk when his plane had made an emergency landing after he fell ill. He is in the intensive care unit for toxicology patients in emergency hospital number 1 in the Siberian city of Omsk. Dude, hang on. According to the TASS news agency, how about 2 different cities, one named Tomsk and one named Omsk? So literally spelled the same, but one has a T and one doesn't.
One's a little different. That's crazy.
Yeah. That's like if we had one city named Amy and one city named Lamey or Bamey.
It would be like if we had Alabama and then next door was Labama.
Yeah. Yeah. So doctors gave contradictory information about his condition, saying it had stabilized, but also that there were a threat to his life. They were working to save him. We think that Alexei was poisoned with something mixed in his tea. That was the only thing he drank in the morning. Yarmish wrote on Twitter. Doctors say the poison was quickly absorbed through the hot liquid. Scroll down.
Through the hot liquid.
Navalny had drunk a cup of tea at Tomsk Airport cafe before boarding his flight, Yarmish said. The Interfax news agency quoted the cafe's owner saying they were checking CCTV cameras to try and establish what had happened. Yarmish told the Echo Moskvy radio station that Navalny was sweating on the plane and asked her to talk to him so that he could focus on the sound of a voice. He then went to the toilet and lost consciousness. Alexei is still in consciousness. He was put under a ventilator. Police were called to the hospital on our demand. So, pretty crazy. You know, we've seen a couple of different assassination attempts, not just in Russia, but from different oppressive regimes within the last few years. You had Kim Jong-un had his brother assassinated. They had like some go-go dancers or something like that had water guns full of poison. They like sprayed on him and he died. And so this stuff is always really fascinating, you know,
Weird
to me.
stuff.
When you look at like wars and, you know, different things, like some of that stuff is based on different action and decision that different countries have made, but it's hard, you know, to kind of overlook the fact that sometimes this is like a personal thing that two guys at the top are kind of. So we may never know what, you know, what this guy did to piss off, you know, somebody in Putin's administration, but you know, it looks like that may be the case. You know, it's kind of interesting to think about.
Dude, what's more Russian than getting poisoned from your tea at an airport?
Getting poisoned from your vodka at an airport. That would be the only thing more Russian.
Yeah, that's true. But, well, hold on. So if he was on a private flight, he was still going to a public, like, restaurant?
Yeah, I mean, it's still in the airport.
Yeah, I know. But
yeah.
So he just was like, I'm not going to drink the stuff on my thing that's free.
I don't know.
Well, not free, but he already paid for it. You know what I mean?
I don't know. It's pretty interesting, dude. It's interesting to think about the just think about like the political climate here right now.
Yeah.
And I would be curious to know the actual number of attempts and frequency of attempts on like Trump's life, you know, to try and assassinate Trump with the political division here right now. I mean, it's just, it wouldn't surprise me if something was going on, you know, pretty much all the time. But
imagine being so upsetty spaghetti at the other party that you kill someone. Well, that's wild.
I would just be interested to know like what their political climate looks like right now, what, you know, type of things the media is pushing. And
well, I think first things
what
first
this guy
is they
potentially
really need to work
said.
on their doctors' uniforms, because really I thought this guy was just walking out of the bathroom, if I'm being honest.
This guy is he's been in a scientific bunker. He was actually bred in a scientific bunker from two Operation Paperclip Nazis that the Russians ended up with. Yeah, this is like we'll put this, I don't know if we can put this picture up or not, but this doctor is like basically wearing like what looks like a V-neck scientist outfit, and he's bald, so pretty Russian. But yeah, unfortunately I just don't know what the political climate looks like in Russia. That's actually something I should probably learn because you know, I don't know. So we got his Wikipedia up. I just wanted to look at a little bit about maybe what this guy's about, stuff like that. He's a Russian politician and anti-corruption activist. Well, that's it.
There it is.
Yeah, that's it. What's kind of funny though is that you know, people who have been alive for a long time in Russia, you know, from what I understand, it's like a lot of them actually like Putin that were around for Stalin and the ones before him. You know, they're like, this guy's great. Yeah. So Yeah, he's an anti-corruption activist. He gained prominence in Russia and in Russia and international media as a critic of corruption, Russian President Vladimir Putin and his government. So he's a critic, almost to Putin's administration himself. He's organized demonstrations advocating reform against political corruption. Putin and Putin's political allies. He has run for political office on the same platform. In 2012, the Wall Street Journal described him as the man Vladimir Putin fears most. So this is like arch rivalry, is what we're seeing
rivalry.
here. Yep. He's a Russian Opposition Coordination Council member and the leader of the political party Progress Party. Dude, how Russian is that? The Progress Party?
Yeah.
Like here we have progressives. They're like progress only. Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. We would have to do a deep dive into this guy to really learn about his ethics and ideals and stuff like that. But as old Donnie T would say, I wish him well.
I wish him well, dude.
No, seriously, man. I think whenever it comes to whistleblowers and people that are against political corruption, I don't care what their political affiliation is. I'm on their side, man. If somebody's got something to hide and you're exposing it, first off, you're putting yourself at probably more at risk than anything that you could do nowadays. But also, they tried to get this guy, man, potentially. So hopefully we'll find out what happened here shortly, and we'll be able to follow up with this next week. What we got next?
Hopefully the police don't just get distracted and someone got in. Brittney.
So then, the next thing is if you are
old Brittney,
if you're 30 or if you
or if you're even really alive.
Yeah, if you're alive, then you know who Britney Spears is, but specifically the Free Britney movement, which a lot of people have been kind of just learning about. It's been something that's been going on in the conspiracy community for a while. Back in, I want to say like 2008. I was going to say 2012, but back since 2008. So the actual conservatorship was in 2008. Was put in place in 2008. So 12 years ago, Britney had some kind of a mental breakdown or something like that. And her father, basically took control of all of her assets and dictates whether or not she does press, media appearances, concerts. Really, he's basically just completely in control of her life. And so, there's been a movement recently, the Free Britney movement, and it's just been kind of pointing out that this conservatorship is bad. They had some stuff going on that people were kind of freaking out about. She was doing these really strange videos on like TikTok. TikTok and Instagram and stuff. And
TikTok.
People were putting like, if you need help, wear something yellow in your next video. And the next video, she's got like a yellow shirt on, doing this like back and forth motion that looks like it's looping, but it's not. She's just doing it over and over and over again. So, so let's go ahead and read a little bit of this. Britney Spears is seeking to make changes to her conservatorship, which has been in place since 2008. The 38-year-old singer is asking that her father, Jamie Spears, be removed as her conservator, according to the documents obtained by Entertainment Tonight. A conservatorship is put in place when a judge appoints a responsible person or organization, the conservator, to care for another adult who cannot care for himself or herself or manage his or her own finances, according to the California court system. According to the court documents filed on Monday, Spears wants Jody Montgomery to become her permanent conservator. Montgomery, Spears' longtime care manager, was appointed her temporary conservator in 2019 when Jamie Spears faced health issues. Montgomery's role to temporary conservator expires on August 22nd. And I want to say that this was actually denied. Spears canceled her new Las Vegas residency when her father was hospitalized last year. The mother of two said in a statement she would be on indefinite work hiatus to devote all of her time to her family and her efforts to care for her father during this recovery. So, yeah, I'm pretty sure that this request to get the conservatorship changed has actually been denied. So, she's petitioning, and so if you see that petition going around, I would say take the time to digitally sign it or whatever. People go through rough times in their lives. I did it, and I made some super poor decisions, and for some people, especially if you have a controlling family, getting them to forget that moment is one of the harder things to do. I still deal with it with my mom sometimes. It's like, she'll just like, hey, everything okay? You been doing all right and everything? It's like, dude, it's been, she's like, oh, I just worry sometimes. And, so, yeah, if you guys see that anything about that going on, especially if it's that petition, sign that thing, man. It's, nobody should be more or less held accountable and judged for a mental lapse that they had 12 years ago, and not being able to. It's Britney Spears, dude. We're talking about Britney Spears. Like, she had a Las Vegas residency, which basically means she had to deal with probably some promotion company in Vegas to where a couple nights a week she played a show or something like that. But, she hasn't been putting out many songs, stuff like that. And I mean, look at it this way. Like, she was dating him, for a long time, but she was like the equal to Justin Timberlake back in the day. And look at all the stuff that he's doing, It's pretty weird, man. She's, sometimes she seems stuck in a time capsule. Like, I'll see her in some of those videos, and it's like, you are dressed straight out of 2002,
Yep.
It's crazy. But yeah, free Britney, man. What we got next?
Bink.
Okay. So
Bonk, bonk.
this is something that, how do I say this? This is something that kind of gets under my skin a little bit. We've been talking some about a bunch of different stuff recently whenever it comes to big tech companies and censorship of conservative people and all of that. And we're actually going to talk for a second about this, and then we'll play that video that we shot on Sunday with Jeanne.
Yep.
That'll be in the podcast. So, but Millie Weaver, if you don't know who this is, she used to be, I want to say, like an InfoWars commentator type thing. She came out with a documentary on Friday called Shadowgate, last Friday.
Shadowgate.
And so what this was it was two whistleblowers from different government contractors like the CIA and the NSA. And they're just kind of breaking down how these different contract companies steal your data, how they share all of your information, sell it to different companies, and more or less how the world that is your phone, more or less is created, and how it's actually a tool for manipulation, and is actually responsible for a ton of the stuff that we've been dealing with for the last, I would say 6 years, kind of on Front Street, more or less. During the Bush administration and the Obama administration, you didn't see too much of it because algorithm technology and all these different social media features and stuff, they either weren't around or most people didn't really understand what the technology was actually doing. And then, whenever the 2016 campaign was happening with Bill and Hillary and emails and all that stuff kind of came to light, and people started to understand, hey, these devices that I depend on so much are really, they're listening to what I say, they're watching where I'm going, all this stuff. And so this was just two whistleblowers that work for companies responsible for some of these algorithms and software and the way that it tracks you and all that stuff. And they're just, more or less saying what it is. But Millie Weaver was the person who made this documentary, and of course it got taken down shortly afterwards. I think you can still get it on BitChute. 100% worth watching. I mean, there have been a lot of these different docs coming out recently. You had Out of Shadows and Follow the Cabal, and I think there were 3 or 4 other ones that I've seen. That Kevin Shipp speech that he does is really good, but it's crazy that this one is probably one of the better produced ones that I've seen. The 2 whistleblowers are shown on camera. They're doing the interview. And so it's not just somebody pulling a bunch of screen grabs off of the internet and, QAnon it's not that.
Yeah.
So, it's more like an actual documentary. It was very impressive. And I really like how these different people are taking advantage of one another and kind of choosing different topics to do these documentaries on. Out of Shadows was really mostly about Pizzagate and elite pedophilia and stuff like that. You have this one. This one's about, big tech and how that's manipulating our world, and Follow the Cabal, more about the elites and deep state and military industrial complex and all that stuff. So this is a great time for content and stuff like this. But Millie Weaver, a few hours before this documentary dropped on YouTube that she put, was actually arrested for a few different things from what I understand. So we'll read a little bit about it. This is on heavy.com. I don't know what that means, but whatever. Millie Weaver is a conservative filmmaker who was arrested at her home in northeastern Ohio hours before she was scheduled to debut her new documentary called Shadowgate on YouTube. Weaver claims she had uncovered a plot orchestrated by both major political parties against President Donald Trump, and that the documentary would explain how it all worked. The timing of her arrest flamed conspiracy theories online, with critics wondering whether or not the arrest was related to Shadowgate documentary. Heavy confirmed with the Portage County Jail that Weaver, along with her significant other, Gavin Wentz, were both arrested on August 14th on felony charges, including robbery and domestic violence. The indictment was made available online on August 17th and shows the arrest was connected to a dispute Weaver had with her mother, Felicia McCarran, back in April. So scroll down a little bit. According to the criminal complaint, which Heavy obtained from the county prosecutor, McCarran told deputies that Weaver, her son, Charles, and Wentz had thrown her to the ground in order to get a cell phone away from her. She claimed the 3 had been mean to her. She had been trying to record their behavior when they decided to take the device. McCarran says she ran out of the house and used a neighbor's phone to call 911. So,
what?
Yeah, I guess they were trying. She's trying to get them on film, being mean to her is what it says. And I don't know, man. It's just really interesting that this arrest took place just a couple hours before the documentary was set to release. I couldn't imagine being a young lady like that, especially in a political position. And, she's probably got people trying to record her saying stuff all the time. And so who knows what really happened, man. But doesn't sound like robbery. Doesn't sound like tampering of evidence or anything. So
robbery,
tampering with evidence, maybe trying to take the phone,
obstructing justice, domestic violence, which is a misdemeanor. Obstructing justice is a 5th degree felony. Tampering with evidence, 3rd degree felony.
If you have time to
2nd degree felony.
If you have time to check out that documentary, Shadowgate, again, I think it's still on BitChute, but it's been pulled down from YouTube by now, almost certainly. Yeah. What else we got?
So weird. Huh? This?
Yeah, next. We already went through. Okay. Next thing, the Democratic National Convention has been happening for the last few days, featuring guest speakers, Bill and Hillary Clinton, and the Obamas, and Bernie was there, and there was a bunch of videos and stuff. I'm gonna be honest with you, I cannot stand stuff like this, like the Democratic National Convention, mainly because it's just like this year was just a hate on Trump rally type thing, which is probably what it was, what it is every time on both political sides. But I don't know, man. It just seems so much weirder, So whenever you're watching rallies and stuff like that, in my opinion, like what makes rallies interesting to watch is the people that are there and like the response from the people. But because of COVID, there not being any of that, it was just a bunch of like videos clipped together and stuff like that. And, you know, some people that were like, why is this person on here? It's like, all right, here's a video from a lady who's a Republican that ran for governor in 1992, you know, and she's like, and lost, and she'll get up there and be like, I've voted Republican my whole life, but this time I can't, you know, because of Donald Trump. So vote Joe, that type of stuff. Yeah, man, it's just like if they had Joe Exotic on there, you know, he ran for governor of Florida that one time.
That one time.
But at the national convention, you know, there is a it's hard to explain this because I don't completely understand it. These national convention stuff, like I said, I don't watch them because most of the time that's all it is just this big political, like, I don't know. I don't want to like circle jerk for lack of better, you know,
I can't believe you just said that.
I mean, I was just trying to think of something better to say, but there's just not one. So one of the things apparently that they do at some point, there's a tradition in which one of the other candidates or somebody that speaks or something will just kind of do like this, you know, like nomination of, no, it's like a nomination of a different candidate. And so AOC, scroll down a little bit and let's see if we can, AOC had basically said that she had supported Bernie for this thing, and MSNBC basically misquoted the whole thing, and or NBC, yeah, she basically, you know, AOC got upset, dude.
Why don't people just call her Cortez? Why do people keep calling her AOC?
The DNC shared the procedural purpose of my remarks to media well in advance. NBC knew what was going to happen. How'd the headline? Scroll up a little bit. Is there anything else that we can... Ocasio-Cortez was asked by the DNC to second Sanders' nomination. The nomination is a procedural requirement of the convention. So it's something that happens... Supposedly it happens every time. The media knows that it happens every time. She did it. She was the one that did it. And they basically quoted her, you know, saying that she did not support Biden as the candidate.
Yeah, she picked,
you know,
Bernie.
Yeah, but that's not what it just says it's a procedural thing. Like it happens every time. Like it's something that they do. They know they're going to do it and all that.
Here's the thing.
Look, she's not it.
Well, she like, what are we doing?
It doesn't matter. That's what I'm saying, dude.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
You're in the same party, dude.
Yeah.
Hey,
yeah.
Who cares who you picked? It's the same party.
Yeah.
All right?
Yeah. It's silly.
If
dude.
she picked
silly.
if she picked Bernie, then she picked Bernie. It doesn't freaking matter. Like, get off her case about it.
It's probably some
she picked.
Yeah.
That's the choice. Hey, if you wanted to pick, it should have been a politician.
Yeah.
Okay? That's exactly how it works.
Yeah.
All right?
I don't know.
It's not like she got the guy like elected.
Yeah.
She was just like, oh man, I guess like if I had to pick someone, this guy. Dude. What?
Dude, it seems like some tradition that's probably like 250 years old that some dudes that wore wigs made.
For sure.
You know,
definitely guys who,
because it doesn't make any sense.
This is something that was invented by people who didn't know dinosaurs existed. That's what this is. Okay, that's how old this is. Think about that.
Here's a question: Are you gonna watch? Do you want to watch the Republican one? I'm very interested to see what the Republican one is. I mean, so theirs was hating on Trump.
Yeah.
You think that the Republican one is going to be focused on hating on Biden? Or
I don't.
You think it's going to be everybody boasting on Trump? Both of them are going to be about Trump. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Here's my thing. If the Democrats even
Slimocrats, they call them, because they got a bunch of vegans over there.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. Even if you're a Democrat, right, and you fully support like the decisions that Democratic politicians make, like if you're like a hardcore Democrat, right, like you can't deny the fact that they like openly argue about stuff more than you see like amongst each other, like amongst themselves, more than you see Republican people do it.
Yeah.
Like it like when you see the Republican stuff, they're all like, it's all like, oh, this guy, good job. Oh, hey, you're doing great. Instead, with the Democrats, it's like, oh, like this guy, look at this guy. They're so pessimistic.
Yeah.
That's the word. Super pessimistic.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, it's about winning for them this time. That's how you end up with Kamala Harris as the VP after saying that she believed Tara Reid, that lady that was accusing Biden of rape earlier in the year. Dude, can you imagine that? Imagine this. Dude, I can't even imagine it because he doesn't do it. Trump, bro, whenever he makes a decision that he doesn't like somebody, that's it.
That's the decision.
That's it, dude. John McCain has been dead. He's still talking crap about John McCain. Him and Rosie O'Donnell got in a Twitter fight one time, and he said from national TV. Yeah. You ever seen that?
No.
Dude. There's a thing where in like the debates from 2016, no, not the debates. It was after the Megyn Kelly thing. Do you remember that? Whenever him and Megyn Kelly got into it on TV, and he said, I could just see the blood. It was coming in her ears and out of her whatever.
Oh my
you
gosh,
ever seen that?
What?
Yeah. So during one of like the apology things, he was asked like, you know, you show disrespect towards women, you call women dogs, or you call them like pigs, whatever, like this list of stuff. And he like interrupts the girl and he goes, hey, only Rosie O'Donnell. It's like, dang, bro. So I don't know, dude. All
right.
It's interesting to see how they put this thing together. It's kind of weird.
I hate. Here's the thing. The only thing I really like genuinely hate about politics is the fact that people don't know how to get along.
Yeah.
Like that's the only part that really bothers me.
Yeah.
Not that we disagree, not that people have disagreements. It's that people don't know how to do it well.
Yeah.
People don't know how to be civil about it. Instead, it's all like, oh, this person's the freaking worst. Like, what are we, children? Yeah. We're out here just like, well, I don't like this kid because he said something that's probably not true.
Yeah.
What? And so this is my thing. This is a very serious question. This is like a genuine. I've never asked a more genuine question in my life. All right. How is Trump the racist? That's what I need to know. So if you're watching, please comment and show me something. The answer can't just be, oh, because he is, or because so and so said so,
or out of context.
Yeah, show me the answer. Because here's what I do: I like to follow both parties on Twitter, right, so that I can see what's happening. Yeah. Dude, Trump's always posting like positive stuff. He does say stuff about other politicians, like, oh well, like, you know, this person's doing a bad job. Quite frankly, the worst job that they could do. We need to do better. Things like that. But he also is always posting stuff like celebrating different like black leaders.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm serious. Like I see stuff all the time. It's like, oh, such a great day. Really privileged to meet this person. Wonderful person. So glad that I could, work with them. And somehow like people are out here saying he's racist, but like, the difference is like I see positive stuff come from him. The only thing I ever see from any Democrats I follow is just pessimistic, like, oh, our future's at stake. Like, don't let Trump win. He's gonna ruin the world. Yeah.
Here's the deal, man.
I just don't get it.
Donald Trump was the first big time reality TV star.
Yeah.
His show went on for 15 years.
Oh yeah.
You know, he's an entertainer. He knows how to get views. He knows how to get clicks. He knows how to get the ratings. He knows all that stuff. He did it for a long time.
Sure.
He did it for a long time. And I don't know, man. I sit here today still wondering, you know, why the country expected something different than what they already knew that he was, you know. And I think that a lot of what you're talking about is partly the immigration policy and partly the time period that we're in. So I think people go, I know, but I think people go, it's 2020. What are we still doing? Deporting these families that work in our communities and stuff like that. And that's the reason.
Yeah, but that's not racism.
Yeah,
you can't call it that because it has nothing to do with race. It has everything to do with the legal process of how they got here. Now, if he was like, we need to deport the Hispanic people. Yeah. And that was the thing. It's like, well, they're Hispanic. We don't need them here because they're Hispanic. Dude, yeah. I'd be like, okay, all right, bro, really? But here's the thing. People call things racist that aren't racist because they call things racist that have to do with where you come from geographically. Yeah. And that does affect, like that can go hand in hand with race, you know, like Africans are black, you know, but not everyone from Africa is black. And that, like, when you break it down into countries, like, that's just a different situation than, you know, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's like saying that he's racist because he doesn't want illegal immigrants is not the same thing as if he was like, well, I don't want the Hispanics.
Imagine this, okay? You know? Imagine this. Imagine.
I'm not even saying that he's right.
I know.
I'm just saying all I'm saying is let's not call it something that it's not.
But imagine this.
Okay.
Just imagine this for a second. Okay. Are you ready? You have your imagination open?
Oh, it's open.
Imagine it's somewhere between 1861 and 1933. Okay.
Yeah.
Imagine that. It's after the election of Abraham Lincoln. Okay.
Uh-huh.
And the Southern Democrats lead the charge to secede from the Union and establish the Confederate States. The Southern Whatocrats? Imagine it was the Southern Democrats, and then imagine that the United States Congress, dominated by Republicans, save for Andrew Johnson of Tennessee, the only senator for Democrat. Okay? Imagine, hypothetically, that the Confederacy was started by the Democrats. Yeah. Imagine if that was the world that we lived in.
Yeah. I'm imagining.
Okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to.
Because that's what happened.
Because that's it. That is what happened. And
here's the thing. You can talk about the whole party switching thing. Okay? You can say that. Still not how it works. Like, here's the thing. Obviously, the term Democrat, you can't just call everyone who's a Democrat, you know, a bad guy. Yeah. You can't do that. Same way you can't do it with Republicans. Oh. You can't just call every Republican a bad guy. That's why I don't like the whole system, because of the fact that we just lump people together that really have no reason being put in the same category. Okay? That being said, we have the two parties that just dominate, you know, our political what's the word I'm looking for? The
ideology,
I guess, whatever. Yeah. That being said, you get more Republicans who support each other and who, in a sense, I guess, praise it. They're the people at the end of the game, even, you know, if you lose, where it's like, oh, good game, like, we'll get them next time. And then you've got the Democrats over here who are like, as soon as something doesn't go their way, they're upset and, you know, they're fussing about it. And I'm not trying to lump everyone into one category, but we have two parties. So
yeah,
what you see out here, I mean, I'll just go back to the example I made with the protest in Virginia. You had a whole bunch of fully armed people. Dude, everyone had a gun. They were all out there protesting. Yeah. Nobody got shot.
Yeah.
Nobody got shot. And then you get, these mostly Democratic protests going, and people are getting beat with an inch of their life.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense. It's not, not that protesting isn't productive. I think protesting is extremely productive. But the problem is that it's so hard. It's so hard to defend the actions of these people and this, the idea that this movement is about, that I agree with, that I agree that Black lives do matter. And I agree that we need racial reconciliation, and I believe in that. But it's nearly impossible to defend those actions when you're gonna beat some store owner within an inch of his life.
Yeah.
Oh well, hey, how does that make you better than? Well, then how does that make you better than the racist people who are just getting away with it in secret?
Yeah.
Just because you do it out in the open, how does that make you any better than the people who are doing it in secret? And that's why, like, I am so disgusted right now. It has nothing to do with what like Democrats are saying and what Republicans are saying. It has everything to do with the fact that we're just out here acting like children instead of having productive conversations and actually getting some stuff done. And that goes all the way back through our history. I mean, if you look at it, ever since we tried to have an organized government, our whole thing was started on people fighting over stuff. Yeah. I mean, if you look back, the different parties way back when they first came about were so bitterly divided, and that doesn't make sense to me because I have family members who think polar opposite of how I think, who say things that I do not agree with at all, but I still care about them. And I don't fight with them over it. I just agree to disagree. And in fact, here's the thing. I've talked about this. I have a specific family member that I care about very deeply. All right. And she happens to think very different from the rest of her family. She's very liberal and they're very, very conservative. And because of that, there's this bitterness that comes into play whenever anything political comes up. It's an immediate fight when I'm around. But the problem is that they don't know how to show each other respect. Yeah. Because I come in, right? And I realize that I feel like I'm a pretty smart person for my age. Yeah. Like the comedian guy was saying, what was his name? The new guy?
Josh Wolf.
Like he was saying,
he's not new.
Well,
just a new guy that you see.
New to the fighter in the they're calling it Fighter in the Wolf now or something.
No, it's Fighter in the Kids still.
Still
Fighter in the Rinks is.
Well, I saw just on Twitter that Brendan tweeted the Fighter in the Wolf.
It might be. I don't know.
Anyways, but like he was saying, it's like even if you got a smart kid, teenage guys are just dumb. Yeah. It's like I feel like I'm a smart guy, but I'm not above making a mistake. But anyways, I realize, oh hey. Like she's getting enough lip from everyone in this setting right now that even if I tried to be productive and try to share my point of view, that it's just not the time. Yeah. So instead, I was quiet. I let everyone kind of get it out of the system, and then I asked her. I was like, "Hey, like, what you said was interesting. Like, that's not really how I think about that topic. Would you mind like?" telling me why you feel that way. Yeah. And just because of the fact that I asked, oh, hey, well, why do you think this? Yeah. Immediately, she was like, oh, yeah. Well, thank you for asking. And then she actually had some good points. I still don't, she didn't like change my mind, but some good points. Yeah. Something to think about. And, and because of that, now like sometimes she'll ask me. She'll be like straight up like, hey, I'm getting really upset because this family member is saying this. And she's like, I just don't get how you could think that. She was like, so would you mind explaining it to me? I'm like, well, personally. And I explain it. And she is like, wow, like, I still don't know how I feel about it, but that's actually a really good point. Like we look at this diversity of thought. We all want the idea of diversity of thought. But the problem is that our political parties, and not just politicians, I'm talking about like people. Yeah. They say that they want it, and then as soon as it's around, they lose their mind. Yeah. They want to be right. And what happens is that we miss an opportunity for growth. We miss an opportunity for diverse thought by simply ending the conversation, trying to think of the most offensive thing you could say. Oh, you're a racist. Oh, you're just a stupid like liberal. Like that. What? We're doing what? Like this person obviously believes what they believe. If they are that passionate about it, they believe it for a reason, right? Yeah. So let's hear that reason. We don't have to agree with them, but we have the opportunity for a productive conversation that helps us grow as a nation and intellectually as people. And we throw it away in situations like this. It's like, really? Yeah. Like, I don't care if the president's a Republican or a Democrat. I care that they make decisions that benefit our country. And if they're doing that, then it doesn't matter what party they're on. So instead of, oh, you're on the other team, time to fight. Instead, let's like listen and talk. I don't get why that's so complicated. Yeah. You know, and the response I get all the time is, if I said that to a Democrat, if I was like, I don't get why we have to fight, they're like, well, the Republicans, you know, well, the racist guy. And it's like, who are you talking to? Like, it's you and me in this room. Yeah. Who's the racist guy? Yeah. Because it's not me. Yeah. Well, is it you?
Yeah. It's because people typically nowadays don't have the ability or the care to look past, the parties themselves that people align themselves with. So, I mean, if you really wanted to put a finger on it, I guess you would call me conservative. But there are tons of. It's not just that. It's much deeper than that.
Personally, I believe that none of it is real. Yeah. Liberal, conservative, whatever. No, I don't think any of that's real. I think it's all based off of perspective. Because to this family member that I care about, I seem very conservative. But to some of my other friends that I have, I seem much more liberal than them. Yeah, like there's not like a, all right, like, there's the line. It's a spectrum of like, well, what about this topic? What about that topic?
Yeah, exactly. It's just with me. That's exactly how it is with me. And if you actually break it down with someone, you find out that you typically
agree on most stuff.
It's me. It's like, I don't look like me personally. I look at abortion for what it is. Like, you're killing something that would otherwise be a person. Yeah. Hey man, you want to smoke weed? Smoke weed. You want to be gay? I don't know what it's like to be someone who
has to deal with sexual identity.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. So I'll give you the benefit of the doubt.
For sure.
Yeah. Guns. Look, I bought a gun recently. And I got a delay on my background check. In 3 days, they let me go pick the gun up without a confirmed, positive background check. I have an issue with that. Yeah, I have an issue with it.
I do too.
I think that the regulations should be more. Yeah. I just do. Yeah. And but nobody wants to hear that. People go, and listen, we've had this conversation before too. It's going to be hard for me to check Donald Trump in November without proof that he doesn't have anything to do with this Epstein thing. And so. Yeah. So what am I? Yeah. What am I then?
Yeah, exactly.
Am I?
What does that make you?
Yeah. And it's completely crazy, man.
It's silly is what it is. And it's sad. And it's very, very sad that I have watched 12-year-olds debate political topics. And I say debate, I disagree. I've watched 12-year-olds disagree on political topics better than our politicians. Yeah. I have watched that happen, dude. Yeah. In school. Yeah. What are we doing? What are we doing at the point where the people that we're trusting to run our nation are not as good at their jobs as children.
Yeah.
How? How are we gonna? What are we doing, dude? Seriously,
It's crazy,
grow
man.
up, shut your mouth for long enough to hear what the other person has to say. That's all I want. That's literally, if we did that, if we just learned how to have some basic human respect them for, if you had enough respect, just to respect them simply because of the fact that they are also a human being, basic human decency fixes so many of our political problems. But instead, we don't see each other as people. We see each other as the enemy, and it's distracting us from actually making any progress as a nation. And, you know, I agree that the systems need some change, that there's some problems, that there's things in place that prevent people of color from being successful.
Sure.
I think that's real. I think it needs to change. However, we're not going to do it divided. Like, we're not going to accomplish anything divided. We're only going to accomplish this if we can get over our differences as Americans, realize that we have the potential to do so much more, and proceed to work together as a team, as a people who have different thoughts. We need to represent diversity, okay? Because that's what we are. America, no one, like, this
no
land,
one here
no one here is
indigenous.
Well, I mean,
the population is,
you know what like
compared to
there.
everybody else.
But like, my point is like, we're all immigrants, you know? Just because my family's been here for enough generations for me to basically just be from here doesn't mean that the person who's first generation born here has any less, you know, right to be here than me. That's not like, I mean, America is like, if we really want to be honest with ourselves, we're not perfect, but we represent a whole lot of different people. And we need to stop. We need to, it just is mind-boggling that people say that this country is awful and that it was never great, when it's like, dude, do you see like what we have going for us here? Like, we can go outside and not be afraid of, like, you know,
go find a refugee from anywhere else but here,
dude. Here's one of the things. My sister was talking about how, you know, this YouTuber that she loves so much is, I think she's Korean is what it is. But she didn't grow up in Korea, because as soon as her parents found out that they were pregnant, they wanted to move here. Who's getting pregnant here and going, man, like, I need to move to some other country? That just doesn't happen. Like, anyone who's here, who's from somewhere else, the only reason that they're like, oh, I wish I could go back, is because of family. It's not because, like, man, like, it's a better place to live over there. Like, we have it good here, and we have the potential to make it great.
Before we get off this, you know, I challenge everybody. Whenever you're having political conversations with people that believe something else, you know, take the time and establish the things that you're talking about and your beliefs with the other person before you start having the conversation and assuming. Like I said, I had a conversation recently with a friend. He wants to have a conversation about how to make our nation better. I like democracy. I like capitalism. There were times whenever I flirted with the idea of, democratic socialism, but then COVID happened, and I watched how many people chose to stay home and collect $600 a week, and that was it. That was it for me. But I like democracy and I like capitalism, and he didn't. And so whenever we're talking about reform of the nation, he's talking about breaking it down and building something new, and I'm talking about, you know, doing a few fractures and healing the wounds correctly. And if that's not established, which it wasn't, like, like, I felt bad. I've you know, ever since. And, you know, it's small, just the small things, the small details in these conversations that, you know, if these things are just established, you know, maybe you can have these conversations with your family or your friends that believe something different, and maybe you can come out with it more understanding, you know. And that actually, this goes straight into what we're talking about. The next thing. Go to the next thing, real quick.
Tab.
Yeah.
Brown.
Okay, so there's a Netflix show called Patriot Act, and it's more of a left-leaning show. It's on Netflix. It's been around for, I think, like 39, 40 episodes, something like that, 6 seasons. But it's with this comedian Hassan Minhaj, who
Which I've seen him speak some.
Yeah, he's an Indian guy, but it's the show takes a left-leaning stance. It's one of my favorite shows, and it's one of my favorite shows because this guy, he's a smart guy. He presents statistics and details and facts for his arguments and the things that he's talking about, and he goes up against those things that are an issue without political bias. So he talks about big tech. He talks about social media. He talks about all this other stuff and how to make our nation less divided and more together, and how to change things. He's been before Congress and stuff, and this show just got canceled, and it's the reason that they're saying is because Netflix just has a hard time making talk show style shows popular. But at the end of the day, man, this is one of probably the most important things that are on Netflix, because it's something that shows you a political argument that has meat behind it, and you can watch it and go, hey, I didn't agree with everything there, but this guy made some great points, and I'll watch the next episode and I'll learn something. And it's sad that us as a nation would rather have iZombie, would rather have
it's not that good of a show.
Rick and Morty.
I've watched it. It's not that great.
Yeah, Rick and Morty, or The Kissing Booth. Those are the things that get popular today.
Isn't that like the
I don't care what I don't know what it is.
Like the teenage,
but yeah, here's the name
stuff.
of it: The Kissing Booth. Next,
it sounds like something maybe a little Catholic. I don't know,
dude. I just enjoy consuming. I enjoy consuming content that has meat.
Yeah,
that has facts, that I can learn something,
and my biggest thing is that the reality is that I could be wrong about my political opinion. I could be, but I'm not going to know if I live in an echo chamber and I just repeat the stuff that I hear other people say who are around me, and I hate anyone who thinks differently.
Yeah.
And I hate it because I want to be impartial.
Yeah.
But the problem is that I see a lot more toxic people coming from the Democratic side than I see from the Republican side. Sure, I guarantee you that there is someone who voted for Trump who lives out in the middle of nowhere who still uses the N-word.
Yeah.
I'm sure that that's real.
Yeah, I know 3 of them.
They exist, dude. But I don't see anyone on Twitter going out, like attacking. All right, here's a good example. I have a friend that I follow on Twitter that says some stuff that makes me mad sometimes. And I don't interact with it because I don't want to start anything.
Yeah.
All right. But they say real dumb stuff.
Is it my girlfriend?
No.
Okay.
They say real dumb things that are just hateful. There's nothing to back it up. Just, oh man, I hate that person because they like Trump.
Yeah.
That's the type of stuff that, like, what do we do? How old are you?
Yeah.
Grow up.
Yeah.
Say something productive. You could say something like, well, see, the problem with this train of thought is because it actually doesn't make sense. Like, say something smart. Don't just be like, I don't know. Here's an example. This doesn't have to do with political stuff, but this is the type of just full on, just like nonsense that they say. They just got into college, right? The tweet was, all of these men in here wearing their masks with their noses out.
Yeah.
Of course, only men would have an ego big enough to do that. Hey, here's the thing. Haven't seen a single guy do that. The only time I see someone with their nose out is if it's a lady working at a fast food restaurant. So obviously, it's not real. People are just dumb. Don't just build your political opinion around the stuff that your friends say.
Yeah.
Be smart. Think for yourself. Don't just regurgitate stuff. Men aren't just hateful. I've met some white teenage males that say some stupid stuff that fit that description. But the reality is that I've met way less of them than I have met level-headed people. Yeah. You can't just go around building your opinions on stuff based off of a bad experience or something that your friend said.
Dude, I don't know, man.
It's sickening.
There was somebody on Twitter the other day that I don't know. They should have been smarter than this. They were like, they were a blue checkmark person, and they put, if Hillary Clinton was held accountable for her emails, then Trump should be held accountable for trying to stop the USPS and stop mail-in voting. Here's the thing. Hillary Clinton was never held accountable for those emails.
Nope.
So what are we talking about? As a matter of fact, blue checkmark person, Hillary Clinton next month is going to have to testify for those emails. So maybe she'll be held accountable for the emails.
Maybe.
But she's not. And
can I ask a very serious question? Because I don't understand it.
Sure.
What is Trump doing to stop the USPS?
He's trying to.
What's he doing?
He's trying
to shut it down?
No, he's trying to basically. So this is what's happening. He's trying to disincentivize the mail-in voting thing. So
he's against the mail-in voting.
Well, listen, it's being pushed. The mail-in voting thing is being pushed. And listen, this is last week, so don't. They're trying to push exclusive mail-in voting. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
What he was
mail in your vote.
Yes. So what he was talking about doing was he had the Postmaster General say that due to the times and for the potential voting fraud, that they were going to basically pull some of the funding from the United States Postal Service, including some of the machinery and tools and stuff that they use to make their job easier. So basically to say, hey, no, we're not doing exclusive mail-in voting because if you do that, this is it's going to be harder for you to get your fake votes, if the post office doesn't have the means to make all that stuff happen,
Yeah. So the idea is
the manpower, and
he's trying to pull funding so that they can't do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and here's my opinion on it. Mail-in voting would be horrible. First off, exclusive mail-in voting. If you're an old person or you're someone who has a condition that, let's say we lived in a society that made sense and they said, hey, use your brain and do the COVID thing that way. So if you're an old person or you're someone who's susceptible to sickness or someone with chronic illness, hey, you stay home. You can, you do mail in.
I'm not crazy, right? Yeah. Mail in has always been an option.
Yeah. So absentee, it's been for stuff like that. People who normally wouldn't be able to get to the polls on that day.
So what are we doing? Right? Okay.
We're trying to make it exclusive, but there's been protests. Listen to this.
Yes, that's my point. That is exactly my point. We're going to gather all together to say we shouldn't have to gather?
No. There have been protests protesting the USPS defunding decision.
Yeah. Okay.
And so that's what Skinny Rick is talking about whenever he says that. So there are protests for mail-in voting so that you wouldn't have to meet at the polls because of COVID.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But we're gonna meet
to protest.
Dude, all right, here's the thing.
We're not talking about Black Lives Matter. That's not what we're talking about right
that's
now.
not what
We
I'm
are
talking
about yes,
That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about Black Lives Matter. I'm talking about the protest to do the mail-in voting because you don't want to have to go to the dude. How are we gonna open bars? How are we gonna open all this stuff? And we're not gonna just vote. Like, I get it. The virus is real. People get sick. If you're old, you probably die.
Yeah.
So let's do it well.
Yeah.
It doesn't just because there is the potential for someone to get sick and die does not mean that will happen. All right. I'm not trying to weigh, it's more important that we go vote in person versus people's health and safety. I'm saying let's find a way that doesn't allow us to have voting fraud and also allows us to be safe. Does that mean that we need to modify something? Like, I don't have the answers, but what I'm not about to do is be like, oh, well, here's this way that, is probably going to end up having some fake votes in there. What is it? Isn't there also like a 3% like voting? What is it? Where it's like 3% of votes aren't real or something like that. That's a lot.
Yeah. It's crazy. But
and that's right now, right? That's like current.
Yeah.
So what happens when we move to exclusive mail-in voting? Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Yeah. I'm not trying, like, this is the problem, is that when someone hears that immediately, if you're, like, why does the post office have to do with Republican or Democrat, whatever, why does it have to be, well, if you're a Democrat, you got to support the mail-in. Well, if you're a Republican, you got to teach those Democrats that we won't allow corruption.
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Let's do what works. Dude, if you could show me that the mail-in voting system does not allow for us to have massive voting fraud, then I'll mail my vote in.
Yeah.
But until then, I'm going to put on a mask. I'm going to go to the thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to vote.
Yeah.
I'm going to use some hand sanitizer. I'm going to social distance. Yeah. And I'm going to hope that I don't get sick.
Yeah. Or take the time, spend some money on something that a system is going to work. Work with somebody who is going to give us the truth, a software engineer or something. Work with Elon Musk. Look at this thing. I can look at my phone. I can set my phone to look at it, and it opens my phone. You're telling me Boring Company can't make software that does facial recognition for us to be able to vote and it not be a corrupted thing? I mean, just mail in is silly. But so much of this stuff is dependent on just these votes. So much of it is, dude. It's crazy.
It doesn't make sense.
Listen to this.
It doesn't make sense why it's even a debate.
Yeah. Have I ever told you about how Al Gore, one of the main reasons that Al Gore lost the George Bush thing?
No.
So Bill Clinton was president at the time. There was this kid named Elian Gonzalez. He was a Cuban. Have we talked about this?
I don't think so.
His mom with some other people tried to float a raft from Cuba to Miami. And what ended up happening was everybody died except for this little boy. I want to say he was 4 or 5 at the time.
Okay.
Some fishermen find him. They deliver him to, I think
They find him in the ocean?
Yeah. They find out his uncle or whoever they were trying to get him to in Miami. They bring the kid there. The dad starts a thing in Cuba to get the kid back. So it becomes this political thing. So Miami.
So the uncle lives in Miami.
Yeah, and has the kid.
The
dad lives in Cuba and wants the kid
and
back.
Wants the
mom died
back.
on the raft.
The mom died on the raft.
Yeah.
Got it.
So,
okay.
so this is what happens. So there's this huge thing, political thing on whether or not to send the kid back. You have the Cuban and the Hispanic vote, especially in Miami, who normally vote conservative at the time.
Yeah.
They obviously want the kid to stay. Okay. Bill Clinton, as the president, takes the conservative stance to send the kid back. That's his opinion. Now, George Bush and Al Gore are running for president at the time. George Bush takes a stance, the liberal stance of we're going to keep him here. We want to keep the kid here. Now, this puts Al Gore in a situation. Al Gore can either take Bill Clinton's side, which unfortunately is a conservative side, and lose respect from the conservatives. If he takes George Bush's side, he loses the backing from the Democrats. So no matter which side he takes, he loses a huge portion of votes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's all it takes for somebody to lose an election. That's it.
That's silly, dude.
And so this stuff matters. These votes.
But how is
matter.
that even that is the point I'm trying to make. How is that even a Democrat or Republican decision? It shouldn't be. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, which are you gonna make the? You're gonna make the.
Because people care about their clubhouse.
Dude,
that's why people care about the clubhouse.
Nobody should care. Nobody. There is no point. There is absolutely no point where your political party should be the reason. You should, for example, what's the thing that Obama passed when he was in office with the where it's like Trump came in and tried to change it, and they were like, well, technically it wasn't passed legally, but we're going to keep it because we can't let Trump have it. You know what I'm talking about?
Mm-mm.
It has to do with immigration. I need to look it up again. So I just heard
there was a lot of foreign policy stuff that was done under Obama.
Well, anyways, for example, one of these things gets put in place, and the process wasn't done in a proper legal manner, right? So Trump comes in and is like, hey, get rid of it. It's not legal.
Yeah.
And they're like, well, we don't like you, so we're going to keep it.
Yeah.
Whether or not, it is a good thing or not, because it does deal, I'm pretty sure it deals with the whole like immigration with laws about like, well, if they've been here for so long, or if the kids are here, like they stay, like whether or not like it's a good thing for families to be able to move here. Yeah. That's I'm not debating that. No. All right. Just, we need to make it possible, but we also need to make a process so that we know who's here. Like we need to know what's going on.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, if we're just going to be spying on everyone, we should at least, let's at least be like, all right, well, we're going to have people registered, who's here. Anyways, that's not my point. It's like, there are people who make decisions not because they want to do the right thing, but because they want to see Trump fail. Yeah. That doesn't make sense. You should never make the right decision. Make a good decision, not a decision that you're like, well, unfortunately, we're going to have to make this move because we need Trump gone. Dude, hey, if you're doing that, I'm sorry, you're the bad guy. Yeah. Like if you're going to do something illegal to win, if you're going to cheat to win just because you think that you need to win, you're not the good guys.
Yeah. Here's the thing that everybody,
real quick, I'm not talking about civil disobedience, because obviously, I mean, it was like however you feel it, even if you don't like the guy, Alex Jones, right? I'm watching interview where Crowder went to visit him in Austin, and they walked around and looked at some of the areas where the looting took place at like that what was it, private stock or something. But anyways, all that's a whole mess in and of itself. But they're talking, and he's like, well, what can people do? He asked Alex Jones, and he's like, you need to stand up. Like, you need to stand up for making a difference here in America. You can't just let corrupt politicians lead. And Crowder was like, well, we're not telling people to like break the law. And he goes, listen, there's a time for civil disobedience.
Yeah.
All right. Listen, there's a time for civil disobedience. He's like, for example, when there's like segregation and stuff going on, right? Like, oh, you're not allowed to be here.
Yeah. Like
that. That's a time for civil disobedience, for the morally correct thing, right? That's my opinion. It's like, hey, are you are you doing this because it's the right thing to do, or are you doing this because you need the votes for your party?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah.
Like, that's why I think that the party system was developed because out of necessity for representing different schools of thought or different ideologies and beliefs. But the problem is that it's gone from it, like it didn't successfully do that. Yeah. Instead, it just turned into this whole mess of like, instead of it actually representing different groups of people and different schools of thought, what it did is it just lumped multiple people into two different categories, or however many. I guess there's technically more than two parties, but no one talks about any other. Like, they pop up and then they go away because it's just Republican, Democrat. It's silly. I'm gonna keep saying it. Like, I can't think of a better word for it than that. It's silly. It's nonsense. You know, we're out here making decisions because we don't want the other guy to do his thing. That's the reason we're going to make a decision. We're not going to make the decision because we think it's the right thing and it's going to better our people. No. I'm not a politician, so I'm not going to pretend like I understand everything. But I understand enough to know that all this fighting and hate is not going to make any progress, you know?
Yeah. It's not.
I think people have this idea that they need to, you know, that there needs to be violence to fix things. And, you know, war is never it's never a fun thing. Yeah. I mean, we fought for our independence, but like, that was messy. Yeah. That didn't like, I mean, we got kind of got a little lucky. Yeah. You know, it wasn't like, there's just so much wrong with fighting that even if you come out on the other side as the victor, like, I mean, you know, history is written by the victor. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It's like, if we just didn't have instigators, right? If we didn't have people who are trying to start stuff, I feel like the world would just do so much better, you know? Like, if we didn't, like, I was at the skate park the other day and some dude was like, oh, like, F yeah, I support abortion. And I was like, where did that come from? Yeah. And he was like, I think it's your body. Do whatever you want. It's your life. I don't give a F. Like, I'm a skate rat. You know, I'm like, all right.
It's like, dude, but we're skating right now.
Yeah. It's like, cool.
Yeah.
I'm at the skate park because I didn't want to hear that. You know, like, I go over there because I just want to, like, not have to listen to all the chaos that's happening.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean,
why? I don't understand why we can't get along.
Yeah.
It doesn't make sense to me. And people will tell me, like, but this is what, leading back to what I said earlier. People will say, when I ask that question, why? Because the other side. Yeah. Democrats are like, oh, because the Republicans are bad. Yeah. And then you ask a Republican, like, well, because the Democrats, they're corrupt. Yeah. You know, it's like, why though? Like, why are they that? Why is that the impression we have? Is that real? Yeah. Is that true? Or are we just feeding off of each other? You know, what it feels like, I'll tell you exactly what it feels like. It feels like when there's two dudes who, like, run into each other and they kind of have, like, a little, you know, they got a little beef, and then people around are like, fight. It's like, oh, like, he said, oh, did you hear that? He said blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, it's, you just, it feels like there's someone somewhere trying to hype all of it up, when really it's like, we're just fighting each other because of nothing, you know, something silly that got puffed up into some big, you know, ordeal.
Well, as long as clicks and views are the currency, you know, of the time, that's how it's going to be, man. I
just want people to get along. Yeah,
I agree.
Peace is so much better than what we're about to
and if we got any previous saves on this simulation, let's just go ahead and load that, you know. We'd have a restore to a previous date. Yeah. You know.
Let's go back, I don't know, dude. A year or two.
Yeah. It's
Well,
I mean, it's just a
probably
rough
more than
time.
that. Really, I'm tripping.
Well, look, we're gonna. This portion will be inserted somewhere else in the video. Regardless of where you're seeing this, we're filming it kind of at the end, and I have another podcast coming up, so I'm gonna be pretty brief. We're gonna play a clip now. It's about 15 minutes long. We had our first guest interview in studio the other day with a lady named Jeanne Seaver. She's the organizer of the nonprofit organization Stand Up Leader Shut Up, which some people may not like some of the stuff that they stand for. They stand against Antifa and the BLM organization, and they really stand for supporting the police. They have a Back the Blue rally in Pooler, Georgia, Tom Triplett Park, Pavilion 1 on Labor Day.
I've played disc golf out there before.
Yeah. So
disc golf course.
That's something you could check out if you want. But regardless of your political stance and how you feel about her stuff, this is an important interview because she set up this organization, was trying to raffle off a gun, and PayPal and Venmo both banned her from those platforms. So her organization does not have, has lost some of the easier ways to send and receive donations and the raffle tickets and stuff like that. And this goes back to First Amendment, in my opinion. So this has nothing to do with political affiliation, I think. This has everything to do with censorship of a person that has an ideology. Imagine this. Dude. Imagine if YouTube started censoring gay people.
Yeah, people would lose their minds. People would absolutely. Yeah. There would be so many people who would lose it, freak out. Yeah. But then you say conservative people are getting censored, and it's that's the response. That's the response. Yeah. Are they really? I feel like you're making that up, dude. I'll tell you exactly what it's like. This is how the people respond when you say that Republicans are getting censored on social media. Their response is the same response that the mom in the horror movie has when the son's like, "Mom, I think I saw a ghost in the basement." It's the same response. It's not really. It's not. Why are you lying? Yeah. You're ruining what? You're tearing this family apart, dude. That's exactly how it is. Yeah. That's exactly the response.
So
why are you lying?
Yeah. So let's go ahead and transition to that video now. This is my interview with Miss Jeanne Seaver. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you don't know me, my name is Quinn. I'm the host of Teddybears and Tantacles podcast. Check us out, share, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. And I have today with me Miss Jeanne Seaver. Say hi, Jeanne.
Hi, Jeanne. No. Hi, Quinn.
How you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
Good. So Jeanne is in here today. This is not an episode of the podcast, first off. Jeannie's in here today for just a quick interview. She is dealing with some of the stuff that we talk about pretty regularly on our show, and that is censorship from big tech and social media. And so Jeanne is the, would you say leader or the man behind the curtain, if you will, for the Stand Up Lead or Shut Up, Stand Up Leader Shut Up, grassroots political nonprofit organization who stands for funding the police, who stands against Black Lives Matter and Antifa. And so if you are a all cops are bad person, this video is not for you. As a matter of fact, if you are watching this and you are one of those people and you're subscribed to my podcast, please go ahead and unsubscribe right now. Because that's not the type of stuff that we're into here. So go ahead and explain to us what exactly you had happen recently.
Yeah, so we started the website Stand Up Leader Shut Up, and we're having a Back the Blue rally. And we're also have a gun raffle, which has all the language. No one under 21 is allowed to purchase. Nobody will receive the gun unless everything has been vented by Thunderbolt Guns, as far as passing the background checks and everything. And we've raised over $1,000 to $1,100. And then all of a sudden on Friday, I get a notice from PayPal saying, "We have terminated your account. You have violated our terms, and we're going to hold any money that you have in here, which is at this time, thank goodness I had done a transfer last week because we had another 500 in there. But so they're going to hold $430 of our money for 180 days. I tried to reach out and contact them. I had no luck. I got through, tried almost to a person, and they said, we're not interested in talking to you right now. That's what it says. We can't provide you service right now.
Yeah, and so that, one of the things that I noticed that they put in that email was that it's kind of at their discretion whether or not they're even going to tell you the reason that they do it. And that's one of the big issues that we're seeing in the nation right now with censorship of conservatives almost exclusively. There are a few left-wing people that I've seen that have gotten blocked for or banned from different media outlets for, silly stuff, but not for something as simple as political ideology or anything like that. So, how do you feel about the responses that you've gotten from them at this point? I mean, it seems just to be kind of cryptic and confusing.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. And what was really got us upset more than anything was the fact that all the money and the proceeds that we get from the raffle and our sponsors at the Back the Blue rally is going to be donated to the 200 Club, which provides immediate funds to emergency responders and police officers that lost their lives in the line of duty. It goes to their families. So that money is going to be held up. And, that's all we're trying to do is support our police, let them know how much we love them, care about them, and display our support for them because they need it very badly.
Yeah, and if you have made it this far, the 200 Club, from what I understand, they support families of firefighters, and it's not just law enforcement exclusively. So there's an importance behind it that even if you're somebody who doesn't want the cops around or anything like that, this is still something that most people should be able to get behind as a support of these people.
You would think.
Yeah,
you would think.
That's not the world that we live in today.
Yeah.
So do you want to talk a little bit about Stand Up, Lead, or Shut Up?
I can talk about that, but the other thing I wanted to add real quickly was probably an hour after I got cut off under PayPal, I got an immediate shutdown from Venmo.
Yeah.
And I just opened up Venmo maybe a month ago. I've had 2 transactions, which two of them, one-to-one, sent money to one of my daughters and then to the other one of my daughters. And they actually came back and said, we take these things very seriously. You've violated everything, but I have no idea what I did. So, and of course, they're owned by PayPal. So I guess they took it upon them to go ahead immediately, personally, shut me down also.
All around. And what would be frustrating for me, I know, is that there seems to be no direction on how to retrieve your account, how to fix what happened, or to even get back on the platforms at all. And so it's a big disappointment.
And that's why I'm here with you today,
Yeah.
Quinn. We appreciate your time just to get it out there to the public on what's going on. I don't know, maybe we should all start boycotting PayPal. I mean, there's a lot of things that have happened that conservatives, spend a lot of their businesses and stuff, spend a lot of money with these companies, but we have to start standing up, and that's what Stand Up, Lead, or Shut Up is all about. Americans out there are sick and tired of being told things but no action whatsoever. Yeah. Congress is doing nothing right now. We're not getting anything accomplished. I don't care if they say, well, we can't do any, can't do anything because the Democrats run the House. Well, yes, you can. You can be standing up and speaking out. Yeah. And that's what we want to be able to hold our elected officials accountable and start speaking up when things are tough and not bow down to, terrorist groups and the violence. I mean, people are afraid out there, Quinn. They're afraid to go out, not because of the virus, because they're fear for their lives and they're not feeling safe. And we want to all feel safe again. So So at our rally, we're going to listen. We're not going to have any politicians. We're going to have our chief of polices in the area. We're going to have some of the leaders from the state troopers are going to come down and speak. We want to hear from them. We want to let them know that we honor them, and we want to know what we can do to help them. And that's what this is all about.
Yeah.
It's not politics. It's all about, like I said before, we are all Americans, and we should all be we should try to be united.
Yeah, for sure. I like what you had to say about Congress there. I mean, we've witnessed for a couple of years now these different tech CEO hearings through Congress, and I pay a lot of attention to all of this stuff, so I know what's going on with the stimulus checks, the CARES Act that's trying to be passed right now, and especially whenever it comes to the tech CEO hearings. I mean, it seems like they get them in there, they catch them lying.
Just for show.
Yeah, and nothing happens.
That's right.
There's no real direction they're going in. Honestly, if I was them, I wouldn't even do it, because all it really shows is that Congress isn't doing anything about some of these issues, and this is a huge one.
It is.
For a lot of people, whenever it comes to conservatives getting banned on these platforms, they get hit everywhere at the same time. So you getting banned from Venmo and PayPal at the same time, it's not at all surprising to me. And I've worked in a lot of different industries. One of them was the electronic cigarette industry whenever that kind of first came out. And throughout the middle of that, PayPal did a huge policy change that affected online sales with that stuff. And we're just in a weird time where it wouldn't surprise me if a lot more policy and restrictions are made to keep conservatives from doing the stuff
it's happening.
Yeah.
Quinn, it's happening now.
Yeah.
The Constitution is our Bible.
Yep.
One of our Bibles. Of course, God always comes first in our lives, but the Constitution and all our rights are being taken away minute by minute, and we need our elected officials that we elected and trusted to go to Washington to stand up for us. And not just in D.C., we're talking about here locally. Governor Kemp has done a lot of things to try to help, but we just have to get up, and we got to, it shouldn't just be up to us, but it looks like, way back in the founding fathers, look what they went through. Yeah. So many sacrifices, so many lives lost to give us the greatest country in the world. And the rights are being taken away day by day, and we need to stand up, lead, or just shut your mouth.
And it's starting with the First Amendment. This is so much deeper than conservative or liberal. I mean, it's, if you're looking at the 10 Commandments, and if you can parallel that with the Constitution, if you will, I mean, this is number one that's, more or less being stripped from us or taken away.
Yeah, we can go out and, it's okay to go out and do, loot and destroy property, that's okay. But we're not allowed to go to church. Yeah. I mean, that is totally unacceptable. Yeah. And we need to stand up and start, taking some leadership here.
Yeah, for sure. Well, if people want to continue to support, how do they do that at this point?
We have a website. It's called standupleadorshutup.com. There's information about our event coming up. You can actually, we have a gun raffle that's going on right now, which, like I said before, it all goes towards the 200 Club, $20 or $100. We still have sponsorships available. We're really honored to have Nine Line Apparel design our own Back the Blue shirt.
Yeah, they look great.
And the sponsors and all the sponsors will be on the back of the shirt. And then later on the 14th of September, Nine Line is actually going to sell our shirts with the Back the Blue on the front and our logo, Stand Up Leader, Shut Up, on the back, to anybody and everybody that wants to. And after they sell 200 of them, we get $5 for every shirt that's purchased after that, which we can also give that to the 200 Club.
Excellent.
So
what can people do to help fight the censorship or just any of the stuff that's plaguing our nation at this point? I mean, I know that writing Congress is
Mute.
somewhat effective. You know, if it'll make you feel good at least. But what can people do really?
Well, they can gather together. I mean, Facebook and Twitter are powerful tools. If they can just stand up on there, of course, they'll probably get shut down. Probably, I don't know, but they need to gather together. I'm a grassroots girl. I've been involved in politics for all my life, and we can't sit back and sit down and be quiet and yell at the TV anymore. We have to get up. And we have to gather folks around and go door to door to help get President Trump elected. You know, call your local elected officials, because I'll tell you one thing, especially on the state level that I've learned over the years. If you call your elected officials about issues that you're having a problem with, they're lucky if they get 5 calls a year during session, which is January through March. If they get more than 4 or 5 calls, that's catastrophic to them, and they will pay attention. Oh. Those are the kinds of things that are effective. And all that information is at, Georgia.gov. All your elected officials are all their contact information, their numbers, their emails is all available there. That's how you can make a difference. You have to start holding them accountable. Yeah. And gather in groups, have press conferences, have podcasts like this. But we got to stand up, and I hope that, by us doing this today, Quinn, that, it'll bring more awareness what's going on, and the more people hear, the more things can happen, because we do make a difference when we start standing up. The silent majority has to wake up now and get off that couch and be active and do something, because our Constitution and all our freedoms and for me and a lot of us out there, it's not about me. It's about my children and my grandchildren. I lived a great life. I'm very honored to live the life that I have, and I want my children and their children to have the same rights reserved and live their life freely without government interference. And I just want their lives to be better. Yeah. Or at least as good as mine. So that's what I do it for.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you for coming. Is there anything else you want to touch on before we close out?
No, we just hope that y'all will get up off your couches and do something. That's what we need to be done. And I'm very grateful to Quinn to allow this opportunity to get our voice out there.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody, check out Jeanne. Check out her organization, Stand Up Lead or Shut Up, at standupleadorshutup.com. Buy some of those raffle tickets. It's I want to say it's a Glock 9, right?
Yeah, it's a Glock 24X.
Yeah, something like that.
Is that right?
I think so. Yep,
and it's brand new right out of the box. We're paying for that actual gun, and then the raffle is help. So. It's brand new right out of the box. We're getting it for Thunderbolt guns. And like I said, the winner of that, which will be announced at the rally, they will have to go to Thunderbolt guns, go through all the background checks, everything has to check out. And another thing I wanted to let you know about, too, about the rally is another thing we're doing is we are going out, every police officer or law enforcement that attends our rally, they're going to get a free raffle ticket. And from that raffle ticket, there are going to be a ton of different prizes that are donated, gift certificates, gift cards to restaurants. We even got Ballastone Inns donating a weekend for one of our police officers to go and get away. So any other business community out there that's interested in sponsors, we got $100 or sponsor to be displayed on the sponsor board, or they could donate a gift card from, Best Buy. I mean, Ansley Williams, who owns a bunch of different restaurants in town, like Dubs and Tubby's and Thunderbolt, he's donating $1,000 worth of gift cards to all of his restaurants. Wow. Towards those raffle tickets for our police officers. So that's amazing. Yeah, we want to show them our love.
Yeah, so check that out. That is on Labor Day, correct?
Yes, sir.
Labor Day, Tom Triplett Park, Pavilion 1. Is that right?
Yep.
Okay.
10 to 12.
Yeah, 10 to 12. So go check that out. Check out their website, standupleadorshutup.com, and we will check on y'all later. Thanks.
Thank you.
That was the interview with Jeanne. Again, this she said some stuff in there that some people won't like. She said, vote for Trump, stuff like that. Like I said, she is someone with a political preference and ideologies just like everyone. And if you live in America and you like America to be the land of the free, then Amendment 1 is the most important one.
Yep.
And so
I mean, that's part of why I say that I think protesting is super productive.
Yeah.
I think that I just can't, I've said it before, I just can't support violence.
Yeah. Agree.
I can't support in that sense, like I can't support people turning something positive into something that hurts. That hurts people.
Yeah, for sure. So again, if that's something you're interested in, if you want to buy a gun raffle, you can go to their website, Stand Up Leader Shut Up. It's a Glock 9.
Yeah,
it's a nice gun.
Even if you don't like guns, maybe just do a little experiment.
Yeah. And if you don't like that political ideology, guess what? You don't have to go to the website, or buy a gun raffle. You can go to CNN or whatever. That's the crazy thing about individuality is that you don't have to.
Maybe go buy some flowers. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's the opposite of a gun?
Probably flowers or like a strawberry cupcake or something.
Yeah, go support a local youth group. Go buy a freaking go to a, what's it called? A bakery?
Please don't say a gun.
No, what's it called? When they do a bake sale, is that it?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, go buy little Tiffany's like chocolate cupcakes she made.
Yeah. Do that. Okay, so I guess that's gonna be it for the day. I know we had a lot today. It's gonna be a long one, but thank y'all again for watching. This is episode number 48. If you want to follow me on social media, you can do that. I am at TBAT Quinn.
Leaving the lower third. Yeah, you know how it is. Yeah. Mine is at TBAT SKINERICK.
Yeah, and make sure you like, share, subscribe, all of that stuff.
Even if you don't like me,
we put a lot of work into this thing.
Leave me a hateful message,
Yeah, do it. So thank y'all again for watching, and we'll see y'all next week.